Hello again. This time we are going to work through Chaturanga Dandasana, through Salambasana, and then through adho Mukha Svanasana, which means Chaturanga and Dandasana is 4-limb stick or rod pose. This brings the body parallel to the ground by strengthening the legs and the arms. So we're starting out on all fours, and she's going to flex the toes on the right and the left foot. So we'll just extend back through one leg at a time. So extend the right leg back. Slide the toes back a little bit further so they're in line with the heel to give some length to the torso. Keep sliding them back a little bit more. Good. And then do the same with the left leg. Excellent. So toes slide back, and it gives a nice flexion in the foot. More emphasis can be placed by pressing the heels and the sole of the foot like you're standing or up against the wall. That's, yes. So the heels stack right over the toes. Beautiful. And then we're going to use this variation today by dropping down onto the knees, elbows bend at the side, elbows rubbing up against the rib cage as she comes forward, leading with the heart. Yes, and coming all the way down onto the belly. Good. Pushing through the buttocks and the hips to come up, letting the hands isometrically move back by the hips and pulling the torso long and up into Salambasana, which is cobra pose. Good. And then making the way into coming back down, flexing the feet once again, and lifting through the hips and the belly up into adho Mukha Svanasana, which is downward facing dog. Softening the knees so that the top of the thighs move back and the sit bones lift in downward dog. So that as the knees soften, the calves come a little bit more forward towards the shins. So the shins, front of the shins move forward, tops of the thighs move back. Beautiful. Navel draws in and back towards the back lower ribs. Good. And to take some of the weight out of the arms, the arm bones once again are pulled back into the torso. The heel of the hand, which usually takes most of the weight, you start to play with taking more of the weight towards the ball mount of the fingers and letting the underside of the forearms lift up towards the ceiling. The armpit, chest hollows up towards the sky. Beautiful. And so these are just some ways of modifying or going a little bit deeper into the posture. Good. So we're going to lower back down onto the knees. Take a moment to come into long arm pose of the child. We're going to regroup to add the breath, the inhale and the exhale, because all of these postures gain strength and awareness. Good. Coming back up onto all fours. Good. Extending the legs out long. So right foot, then the left leg. The emphasis is back into the legs. The inner thighs are going to feel like they're lifting up towards the ceiling. Navel hollows up. Beautiful. Did you see how her spine lengthened? The back of the head could come up just a little bit higher to the chest to melt the heart. And then once again in the full Chaturanga, she's going to bend her elbows at the side. So the upper arms rubbing the rib cage helps to support the chest as she lowers the chest, keeping the belly. Beautiful. And look at how nicely her elbows, shoulders, and hands are in a 90-degree angle. So as the hands pull back towards the hips isometrically, she pulls the breastbone forward to inhale to come up. I have to correct myself. So this is Bhujangasana, the snake or cobra pose. And then once again, as we did before, because of the way our hips can be tight, her feet are a little bit wider. We can practice bringing our feet closer together. And then once again, as she comes up, the heart, the chest pulls forward and up. Now, again, we adjust in the navel center. So the pelvis scoops, buttocks softens, navel draws in and back towards the back ribs to support the lower spine. Soften the elbows as the chest moves forward. More of the breastbone coming forward. Yes. And look at how nicely her head just sits on the foundation of her shoulders. Pressing firmly into the top of the feet, the mid-shins, and feeling the inner thighs lift up. Excellent. And then curling the toes again under, and then lifting through the navel center to come back into downward facing dog. Once again, softening behind the knees. So at the other end of that thigh bone, the thigh bone runs from the sit bones down to what makes up the knee. So instead of having the knees bulge back, we go to the other fulcrum of that thigh bone and move from the top of the thighs, which is going to help to move the hips back and up. And as the calf muscles come more onto the shins, beautiful. Then the navel draws up towards the lower back. The underside of the arms lift up towards the ceiling. So it helps to lift the arms up, and then that takes more weight over into the ball mounts of the fingers. Excellent. Take another breath in. Find the breath. And then exhale to lower down onto the knees once again. And come and rest in long arm pose of the child.